Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Some massive news for Matt Rhule. This Nebraska program has former USC cornerback Sayer Wright committing to Nebraska heading into the 2024 season. Now, we talked about Sayer Wright when he scheduled his visit to Nebraska as potentially being a massive add for this program heading into 2024. I still feel the exact same way. And for it becoming official for Nebraska, I think it's massive news for really two different reasons. I think it starts with the depth. I mean, you look at this Nebraska cornerback room over the last couple of months, and we went from, hey, we feel really dang good about this cornerback position heading into 2024 to, I still feel really good about the cornerback room, but the depth is kind of questionable heading into 2024 with Bly Hill going down with the injury and Ethan Nation as we stand right now, not with the program. You suddenly kind of had a circumstance where if you do see any more injuries, Nebraska was going to be forced to play a lot of inexperience in the cornerback room. And so you satisfy not only depth with Sayer Wright, but somebody that I think has a tremendous upside as well. He said it when he scheduled his visit. This is a guy that can be an all Big Ten caliber player for Nebraska. There was a reason that Sayer Wright was a top 100 national prospect coming out of high school in 2021. And I went back and kind of looked at some of the film specifically in the 2022 year before he was dealing with some injuries. He started 11 games for USC, was faced with 43 targets, only gave up 27 catches, a 62% completion percentage when targeted, only missed 9% of his tackles. And I would ask USC fans who are tuning in, I think Sayer Wright played some pretty solid football for USC as a redshirt freshman in the 2022 year. So you not only, at least in my mind, get some really quality depth, a guy that has started almost 15 games at the Power 5 level, but a guy that I still think there's a very high ceiling in terms of what he can be in the Big Ten. And for Nebraska fans, if you can make it happen in the Pac-12, I'm a Michigan fan myself, so we'll take a shot at the Big Ten. The passing attacks that you're going to see in the Big Ten, they're nowhere near what you saw in the Pac-12 the last couple of years. So Sayer Wright playing solid football in the Pac-12 makes you feel pretty good that he's going to play some solid football in the Big Ten for this Nebraska program. Really excited to get into Sayer Wright, talk about what he brings not only to this Nebraska defense, but what the presence means for this Nebraska defense in terms of what that rotation is going to look like. Before we get into it, as always, massive shout out to the Nebraska fans. Y'all know I love talking this program. The amount of support you guys continue to show truly does mean a lot. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into Sayer Wright. And I think you just start with the pure physical traits. Go back to why was this a top 100 national prospect coming out of high school? Ran a 10.8 in the 100-meter dash. This dude can absolutely cook, and he's got a nice frame at 6'1", 180, but extremely long arms, and he's a fluid mover. So this is a guy that I think from a physical trait standpoint, checks a lot of the boxes that you're looking for at that cornerback position. And then, again, you look at the performance as a redshirt freshman for USC and say he played really solid football in a conference that you saw routinely every Saturday, some really good quarterback play and really good wide receiver play. And so that makes you feel pretty good about Sayer Wright coming to Nebraska and being a really quality body in this cornerback room. And you start looking at what the rotation is going to be for Nebraska. I think one of the biggest parts of this Sayer Wright move is you probably get to keep Malcolm Hartzog at that nickel role. I think we all agree Malcolm Hartzog probably at his best is playing nickel as opposed to boundary cornerback. Not to say that Malcolm Hartzog can't play boundary cornerback. He certainly can. We've seen him do it at a high level the last couple of years, but from a trait standpoint, he's probably best at that nickel role. So you bring Sayer Wright in and say, we can probably keep Malcolm Hartzog at his ideal position. And if we have to start the year with Tommy Hill and Sayer Wright, again, a guy that has started almost 15 games at the Power 5 level, and Tommy Hill, Sayer Wright, that's a solid cornerback duo that you have heading into the 2024 season with Bly Hill working his way back from injury. You have a guy in Jeremiah Charles who, from a trade standpoint, certainly could be a really good football player. And then you have Doss coming and joining the cornerback room as well. So it gives guys like Doss and Jeremiah Charles a little bit more time to acclimate. I think I said that word right, to the Power 5 level, and you have a veteran in Sayer Wright who one is going to be, and what I think is going to be a reliable starter with some upside to be an all Big Ten caliber guy. And so I think this move makes a lot of sense, not only addressing the depth that we have, not only allowing Malcolm Hartzog to stay at that nickel role, but I think most importantly, you're adding a football player that can be really good at the Big Ten level, played solid in the Pac-12, probably going to be damn good in the Big Ten. I think this is a massive move. And you talk about this late on in the transfer portal, Nebraska able to make a roster addition that significantly makes this team better heading into 2024. There were not many good players left in the transfer portal. I think Nebraska found one in Sayer Wright. Really excited about this move. Excited to see kind of how he acclimates to Nebraska, what this rotation looks like in the back end. There's a lot of talent. Now it's up to Tony White, who's a heck of a lot smarter than me, to kind of maximize what this secondary rotation is going to be. We'll close it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later.